I never imagined I'd be the one to tell a tale like this. My name is Ben Walker, and what unfolded on that unremarkable Tuesday afternoon shattered everything I thought I understood about life, death, and whatever lies beyond. It began with a headache, not just any headache, but a brutal, skull-splitting torment that made me wonder if my head would simply rupture. I'd been plagued by these for months, and the doctor had prescribed tablets meant to dull the pain. That day, I swallowed my dose as usual, clinging to a frail hope of relief that never arrived. I was alone in my flat, slumped on the sofa, struggling to focus on the pages of a book, when the agony surged. It was as if a molten spike had been driven through my temple. I fumbled for my phone to call for help, but my fingers betrayed me, trembling and useless. The room spun wildly, colors bleeding into one another like watercolors on sodden paper. I lurched to my feet, only to crash to the floor. The last thing I recall was the ceiling fan above me, turning in lazy, mocking circles. Then darkness. Utter, suffocating darkness. I opened my eyes, or thought I did, and found myself gazing down at a scene that defied comprehension. I hovered near the ceiling of my flat, watching paramedics kneel beside a body sprawled on the floor. It took several heartbeats to grasp the unthinkable. That body was mine. Male, mid-30s, no pulse, one of them said, his voice sharp and clear despite the distance. They began CPR, hands pressing rhythmically into my chest, fitting a mask over my face, barking into radios. I observed it all with an eerie detachment, as though it were a film about someone else. Fear didn't touch me, only fascination gripped my mind. "He's not responding," another paramedic said, a younger woman with a furrowed brow. Her voice tight with focus. "How long's he been down? Neighbor called it in 15 minutes ago." "Heard the crash, couldn't get an answer at the door," her partner replied. 15 minutes. It felt both an eternity and an impossible sliver of time. As they labored over my motionless form, I noticed something stranger still. I could hear their thoughts. Not just their spoken words, but the frantic currents beneath. The older paramedic fretted about missing his daughter's football match. The younger one silently rehearsed CPR protocols, terrified of a misstep. When they hoisted my body onto a stretcher, I drifted after them, gliding through the walls of my flat and into the ambulance with no effort at all. I wasn't walking or flying. My mere intent to follow propelled me forward. Inside the ambulance, the paramedics battled on. Monitors screech flat lines where peaks should have danced. "We're losing him," one muttered, and a fleeting pang of concern pierced me, only to dissolve moments later. My body's fate seemed ever less tied to the surreal reality I now inhabited. As we sped toward the hospital, the world beyond the windows transformed. Colors blazed with unnatural vividness, edges sharpened to a razor's clarity. I saw energy throbbing around living things, trees, pedestrians, faint halos of light pulsing with life. It was breathtaking, a beauty words can't fully capture. At the hospital, they rushed my body into the emergency room. Doctors and nurses swarmed, shouting commands, jabbing needles, pressing paddles to my chest. I watched from above, inexplicably calm. I knew they fought to save me, yet I felt untethered from their struggle. A doctor glanced at her watch. Time of cardiac arrest. 1617, she announced, her face grim. Let's keep trying, he's young. They persisted for what felt like hours but was likely mere minutes. After another jolt from the paddles, she shook her head. I'm calling it. Time of death, 1629. The moment those words rang out, something shifted. The room faded, growing translucent like frosted glass. A tunnel yawned open before me, tugging me forward with a gentle, relentless pull. This was no ordinary tunnel. Far from the dark abyss I'd expected, it shimmered with a light so pure, so radiant, it seemed alive. It didn't sear my eyes. It welcomed me, cradled me. I moved through it drawn by an instinctual trust I couldn't name. I wasn't alone. Presences flanked me, unseen yet familiar, as if I'd known them forever and somehow forgotten. They guided me, shielded me, their essence pulsing alongside mine. The tunnel thrummed with vitality, shifting with my emotions. When anxiety flickered, the light softened, soothing me. When curiosity sparked, it widened, teasing glimpses of something vast beyond. Time lost all meaning. I might have traveled for seconds or centuries. It was impossible to tell. All I knew was that I hurtled towards something monumental, a truth I'd sought my whole life without realizing it. As I neared the tunnel's end, sounds emerged. Not earthly noises, but a deeper resonance. Music, yet unlike any I'd ever heard, each note flawless, each harmony whole. It didn't merely surround me, it coursed through me, as if I were an instrument tuned to its frequency. Then, abruptly, the tunnel parted, and I burst into a boundless expanse of that same radiant light. Now though, the light had intent, streaming from a distant, unmistakable source, a presence of such overwhelming love and power that I knew instantly I stood before the divine. Before I could draw closer, an unseen tether yanked me back. I was in the hospital room again, watching the medical team prepare to move my body. But something had changed. A nurse, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, paused, resting his hand on my chest. "Wait," he said, his voice slicing through the room's heavy silence. I think I felt something. The doctor, peeling off her gloves, shot him a skeptical glance but returned to my side. She pressed her fingers to my neck, then froze. "He's back," she gasped, astonishment breaking through her composure. "Get him on a ventilator, now." The room erupted into frantic motion. They intubated me, hooked me to machines, pumped drugs into my veins. Monitors flickered from flat lines to faint, stubborn signs of life. "He was gone for 11 minutes and 45 seconds, the doctor murmured. "Prep him for ICU. Get a neurology consultant. We need to check for brain damage." As they worked, my perception deepened. I saw more than the physical chaos. I glimpsed the threads of light binding these people, linking them to each other and to unseen others beyond the room. Some threads glowed bright and robust, others hung thin and fragile. It was a web of love, duty, resentment, and compassion. Their pasts hovered around them like faint echoes. The doctor's medical school triumph, the nurse's row with his teenage son, the technician's whispered prayer before her shift. These weren't mere memories. They were the moments that forged them. Amid this, a new presence materialized beside me. Not flesh, but light akin to those in the tunnel, yet sharper, more defined. "Ben," it said, not aloud but directly into my mind. "Go where?" I replied, instinctively matching its silent voice. There's something you must see, it answered. Don't worry about your body, it's in good hands. I hesitated, glancing at the flurry around my physical form. The presence sensed my unease. This isn't permanent, it assured me. You'll return, but first, there are truths to grasp. Its certainty inspired unshakable trust. I released my fears and let it draw me away. The hospital dissolved, and the radiant tunnel engulfed us once more. Who are you? I asked as we moved. I am your guide, it replied. I've been with you since before you were born, though you couldn't sense me until now. Are you an angel? I pressed, grappling with the teachings of my childhood church. That word will do, it said. Labels matter less than you think. What matters is, I'm here to help you understand what's coming. Other presences joined us, some familiar yet unplaceable. Others, strangers who felt like kin. They're here to witness, my guide explained, reading my unspoken question. Your journey matters, not just for you. The tunnel flared open again, and we emerged into that vast, luminous expanse. This time, I wasn't held back. I surged toward the source, a presence so immense it consumed my vision. The space around us took form, not as earthbound landscapes, but as a realm of structure and depth. Light bathed everything, casting no shadows, revealing colors beyond human naming, hues of unearthly beauty that danced at the edges of perception. Where are we? I asked. This is the threshold, my guide replied. The meeting place between worlds. Most souls come this far before choosing to return or press onward, but you're here for a different purpose. You're being called. In the distance, I glimpsed structures of light, ancient, timeless, woven from thought itself. The halls of knowledge, my guide said. All that's ever been known resides there. But that's not our destination today. Instead, we veered toward a vast garden. Its plants and trees pulsed with vivid life, conscious in a way that startled me, aware of us as we passed. Streams of liquid light wove through it, their sound a melody, or perhaps a language, as if the realm itself sought to speak. We reached a clearing, a circle with a simple bench of pearlescent sheen at its heart. Wait here, my guide instructed. He is coming. Who? I asked, nerves flaring, but the guide vanished, leaving me alone. The light intensified, focusing around me. I shielded my eyes, then realized the brilliance didn't sting. When I looked again, a man sat on the bench, simply clad in white, Middle Eastern in appearance, with dark hair and beard, olive skin. His eyes held galaxies. I knew him instantly. I fell to my knees, not from fear, but reverence. Here was a source of the love I'd felt since entering the tunnel. Pure, potent, transformative. Rise, Ben, he said, his voice both tender and commanding. You needn't kneel. Come sit with me. Trembling, I obeyed. A wave of peace washed over me as I settled beside him, quelling my turmoil. Lord, I began, but words failed before his perfection. He smiled, and the garden seemed to glow brighter. You have questions. That's why you're here. Am I dead? I finally choked out. Your body hovers between life and death, he replied. But you're here with me now, and that's what matters. I glanced at my hands, solid yet not flesh as I knew it. Why me? I'm nobody special. His laughter rang like music. Ben, if only you could see yourself as I do. There's no such thing as nobody special. Every soul is a universe, precious beyond measure. His words struck a chord deep within, a truth I'd always known yet buried. You're here because you sought truth, he continued, not just with your mind, but your heart. Even when you doubted, a part of you never stopped searching. But I failed so often, I said, memories of my flaws surging forth. I've hurt people, abandoned faith when it got hard, chosen selfishness. Do you think I don't know? He asked, his tone soft, yet tinged with sorrow. I've seen every moment of your life, Ben, every choice, every struggle, every triumph and fall. Images flared around us, my childhood prayers, teenage rebellion, adult pursuits of fleeting glory, recent stirrings toward meaning. Your journeys had detours, he said, but what matters is the direction you face, toward love or away from it. Suddenly, I saw my life anew, ripples of my actions spreading outward, a kind word altering a colleague's day, rippling to her family, her children's friends, an endless cascade. But I also saw the damaged relationships scarred by careless words, chances to help squandered, moments I chose ease over rightness. This is your life's truth, he said gently. Not just your deeds, but their impact. It's the same for every soul. I sat, humbled yet awed by the weight of even my ordinary existence. There's more, he added, voice deepening, something about time and eternity. He gestured, and the garden morphed. Threads of light wove around us, a tapestry of lives intersecting in dazzling patterns. These are all conscious beings, he explained. To you, they seem linear, past, future. Here, they exist at once, different angles on the same eternal now. I marveled at the intricate connections, my own thread weaving among countless others. Your life has purpose, he said, pointing to it. Not just in grand moments, but in small choices, to love, forgive, endure. I saw my thread shift the pattern, some changes harmonious, others jarring. Each choice to love strengthens the whole, he said. Each turn to fear or selfishness weakens it. Regret gnawed at me. Can the damage be undone? Watch, he replied. Around my missteps, other threads wove anew, mending the discord into fresh beauty. This is grace, he said. It doesn't erase the past, it redeems it. Stunned, I absorbed this miracle. Then his tone grew grave. One last thing. The scene shifted. We stood at a divide. On our side, the garden thrived. Across it lay emptiness, not darkness, but absence of light, sound, connection. What's that? I whispered, recoiling. Separation, he said. What some call hell. It's what remains when a soul fully rejects love. The void tugged at me, a chilling pull. Many choose it, he continued, not suddenly but gradually, turning from love until they can't accept it. Is it forever? I asked, voice trembling. His eyes brimmed with compassion. My desire is that all turn to love. But I grant true freedom. I won't force what's rejected. The chasm widened, the garden flourishing anew. Your choices shape who you become, he said. Are you growing toward love or isolation? I grasped it then. Judgment wasn't his decree, but my own becoming. The good news, he added, is no one's defined by their worst moments. While there's life, there's hope to turn. He touched my shoulder, strength flooding me. You're returning, Ben, to take this back. Not everyone gets this chance. Why me? You have work left, lives to touch, love to share, lessons to learn and teach. Fear and honor battled within me. How can I return after this? It won't be simple, he said, reading my heart. The fullness of this will fade. Your mind can't hold eternity, but its essence will stay. What do I do with it? Live love, he said. Not flawless love. That's beyond you now. but intentional love. See the divine spark in everyone. He stood, and I sensed our parting. Then he embraced me, not physically, but soul to soul. A love so vast, so healing, poured into me, mending every fracture. Remember, he whispered. He vanished. The garden dissolved, and I sped back through the tunnel, my guide at my side. Will I recall this? I asked. You'll keep what you need, it replied. The details may blur, but the truth won't. At the tunnel's end, it paused. Your body's been in a coma. 11 minutes, 45 seconds since your heart stopped. Returning will bring pain, confusion. But I'll be with you, unseen as always. Before I could answer, light blazed, blinding, searing. I fell, spinning into heaviness. Pain crashed over me, chest crushed, throat aflame, nerves shrieking. Voices pierced the haze. His vitals are stabilizing. Pupil response normal. Mr. Walker, can you hear me? I fought to open my eyes. The harsh light, a cruel contrast to the tunnel's glow. Something blocked my throat. I couldn't speak. He's fighting the ventilator. Good sign, someone said. A hand gripped my arm, solid, real. You're in hospital. You've had a serious event, but you're stable. Relax. Hours bled together as I clawed back to my body. The ventilator came out. Tests blurred past. Doctors marveled. Remarkable, one said. After that long without oxygen, we expected damage. Your scans are nearly normal. I can't explain it. But I could. It wasn't luck or medicine. It was purpose. I had work left to do, lives to touch, love to give and receive. Lying in that hospital bed, fragments of my journey slipped away, as my guide had warned. The garden's details, Jesus' exact words, the full splendor, they faded like mist. Yet the core truth burned in me, indelible. Love is the bedrock of existence. Everything else is just noise. Thank you for staying till the very end. Please give my video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this narration. See you in the next video. Take care.